Hey YouTube, what's happening? It's Jeremy here, and today I'm in the upstairs garage at my house. This place is a complete train wreck. We'll do a quick spin around here. This room has been a catch-all for everything, just because it's the garage that's on the driveway. And until recently, I haven't really had any tools or power. I still don't have a compressor air up here. I'm working on that today. That's what this video is about. Neighbor friend down the street hooked me up with a sweet deal on I think it's like a 60 gallon compressor. It's the typical one you get from big box stores. This one particularly came from Lowe's. It's a Cobalt version. But it's a Campbell Hausfeld branded compressor that you can get. I think they're like 3.5 horsepower motor or something like that. Don't make a lot of CFM. But this is a great compressor to have in my upstairs shop, just so I can like fill tires, occasionally run a cutoff wheel or an impact gun or something like that. Just keep stuff blowed off if I need to. Maybe run a small sander for short periods of time. A pretty good compressor. I had one of these early on, about 10 or 11 years ago when I first got the shop with my brother, and when we started buying some equipment, we bought the Husky version of that same compressor from Home Depot. And used it for, I don't think the first two, maybe 3 years of having the shop, before we upgraded to the big 80 gallon, 10 horsepower, 130 CFM, 120 something CFM compressor that I have now downstairs. That being said, I don't need that much air up top here. So this one's going to do fine. Yeah, man, it's been a while, but we've been in the house now a little over 3 years. And I started running this max pipe, 3/4 inch. There it is. This 3/4 inch blue fast pipe. I got a piece here I can show you. Nope, that's a long section. Whoops. Well, oh, here we go. Sorry, I'm trying to grab a scrap of it so I can show you. I've got another video here about installing this stuff, kind of going over the bits and pieces of it. But you see here, it's like a nylon lined aluminum thin wall tubing, with another type of some sort of plastic PVC outer jacket, and so it's like a three layer sandwich, if I can get the camera to focus on it there. And it comes with these different types of fittings. This is a T fitting. They got 90s and straights, all that stuff. So check out my other video down. I'll link it here. To kind of see the rundown on how that product works and how it installs. Long story short, is I've used that in three shop buildings in the house here. It's great stuff. It's reusable. The fittings, you just screw it together and they just kind of compression. It's like a weird compression fitting, and it's got 2 O-rings. When you tighten that jam nut down on the ferrule there, it makes the site seal with the compression ring. Very, very awesome, easy to use, easy to install. It's absolute zero maintenance and trouble-free stuff. But I've ran all that around the perimeter of this upstairs shop, and just life and the many other things got in the way, and I haven't been back here. Hasn't been an issue because for the longest time I was it was kind of looking like I was going to need to dig a trench from the downstairs shop, which is let's see if we can see it out of the window. Too bright, but there's another shop across the yard. I'd say probably, I want to say it's like 130 feet or something like that. So I was going to have to dig a trench, bust up a little bit of slab to go from the building to where the slab stops to just this regular dirt. It's going to be a whole big thing to get air up into this shop. And I was like, that's a lot of work. I'd be better off just to get another compressor. It hadn't really been an issue. When I was still working my day job. It's not like I had just oodles and oodles of time here at home to do projects. So anything that required air was going to be done in the downstairs. This upstairs shop was primarily for storage for the Chevelle and the Rambler and other odd and bits and pieces, and do occasional, mechanical type stuff on a running, driving car, like, doing brakes on the wife's car and that kind of thing. So I didn't need air up here. I've kept my eye open for compressors for a while. Hadn't found any smoking deals and hadn't really been, looking for it. Well, my neighbor down the street, he bought a new compressor recently, and this one here needs a pressure switch. Pressure switch. That's a tough one. And I think it needs to be, the motor is wired up currently for 110, which I don't want to do that because the amperage, I don't think my circuit panel here will support that startup load on it without killing these. We've got screw-in fuses up here in this shop because this is a really old building. And those things are kind of pricey and getting a little bit tough to find. So I'll definitely be switching it back to 220. And so anyway, pressure switch I think is about 50, 60 bucks for this. Once I get that, otherwise it's a great compressor. It's not that old. I'll get that wired in here, and like I said, I'll have air upstairs. It's gonna be great. Keeping tires pumped up on the cars and trailers, that kind of thing. So I've got to go to Northern Tool and pick myself up some more. Well, I don't know if you can see them here or not, but these little black clamps that hold the line. They're specifically sized for that. I could just use 2-hole plumbing strap or conduit straps from the hardware store. But just in keeping it simple and matching, I'm just going to grab another bag. I think they come either 15 or 25 in a bag for about 15 bucks. Maybe 20 bucks now with the price changes. Who knows? It's been a while since I bought any of those. And that'll keep me nice and clean. They just snap in place. The line, the tubing doesn't weigh much. It's very lightweight stuff. So I'm excited to kind of just be getting a little progress up here. Sorry. I had some wicked heartburn today. Something I ate yesterday's got me messed up. Anyway, it's going to be nice getting a little bit of progress in here. I just brought the Rambler back inside about 3 weeks ago after a 2-year stint of it sitting in the driveway. Because of my pressure washing business, I moved this car out so I could keep what used to be my open trailer rig parked inside every day. Well, I moved to an enclosed trailer. Didn't need the, since it doesn't fit in the garage, it stays, where it stays. And so that whole time the Rambler had been outside under a really nice tarp, but that tarp had finally given up the ghost a couple of weeks, month ago, after some windstorms started blowing apart just from dry rot. And it's the first time I actually uncovered it too, because I did such a nice job of wrapping it up. There wasn't any need for me to uncover it, and I kind of wish I had done so sooner. This roof is already rusty, so this isn't new, but it has started getting some pits and some heavier rust, just from staying damp and that kind of greenhouse effect that happens when you tarp something. Some of these checkings like this wasn't there before, so it needed to come back inside. I'm going to switch hands here again. My arm's getting severely sore from holding the camera. I've got my mill machine over here, so I can do a little machining. This whole garage here is really kind of going to be my next big project after finishing the bathroom there in the house, which we're kind of rounding the corner on. We've got the plumbing done, toilets working, so we're pretty much down to drywall, ceiling, electrical, to have that finished up, and then buy the tub and buy the vanity set up for it. But this garage here had these shelves built around on the sidewall here, all across the back. And they're about 2 feet deep, really nice. The problem is it kills off 2 feet of depth. All these bottom sections here have doors and storage, so if I use that storage, you got to be able to get the doors open. Well, since I'm here at home now, I brought my monster toolbox set up here and some of my service roll carts and that sort of thing. They don't really have a good place to go because ideally I would have the sidewalls of this garage free and clear. This side of the garage, I've got my breaker and this bump out for the chimney or the exhaust duct for the heater that's down in the basement. Because of some, and the vent stack too for the waste drain vent. So because of some of that dead zone there and the man door at the front, I decided to put the air compressor on that wall. Well, back here from this brick section to this back corner, regardless of what I do to the shelving back here, I'm going to be cutting that out. And this is a wide enough footprint over here. This is a wide enough footprint here. I'll be able to park my is it 56-inch toolbox with the hutch that I built. And I think it's got, I think the end lockers are like 20 or 22 inches wide. So anyway, the whole toolbox, I'll go over here and show you. It's a mess too, so don't judge me. It's a catch-all. This will be able to fit in this corner back here. And I'll probably most likely end up taking out some or all of this whole bench section here as well. I've got some more of those metal industrial cabinets. Not the cabinets, I'm sorry, but the open shelves. They're the same specs and dimensions as those double door metal cabinets like I have in the downstairs, basement, downstairs shop. And so to be able to get some more utilization and some more some vertical, I think cutting out this workbench contraption here, even though it's cool and it's old wood, it's awesome, I'll probably save the wood because it's true dimensional lumber. There's some pretty neat stuff like, there's just different hole drills and markings. So anyway, we'll probably make something cool like a shelf or something out of that. But that'll allow me to get some more space, and then I can have actual usable workspace here in the front end of the garage, and can keep most of the floor free and clear to actually work on either of these two cars here, in addition to storing things like the MIG welder cart, engines on an engine stand, that sort of stuff. It's a little tricky getting things with small casters from the upstairs to the downstairs garage, because there's no paved path. I have to either go down 3 steps, or if it's got robust enough wheels or casters on it, I can take it through the grass off of the slab to get down around the steps back onto the sidewalk. So it's a little tricky. Things like the pallet jack, they don't go. I moved my Cornwell, it's basically my metal fab tool cart. It's really heavy. I took all the vice grips and C-clamps out of the drawers, and that freed up like seriously probably 100, 150 pounds. Took some hammers and dollies out and things like that to lighten it up. It was still heavy, but I have some of these thick, I think they're like 5/8 sticks, rubber. They're called stall mats from Tractor Supply. They're 3 foot by 4 foot. And so I was able to put 2 of those down and just kind of do like a leapfrog with the mat and get the roll cart downstairs. So that worked out pretty good. Go ahead and wrap this video up here because it's getting pretty long. So anyhow, I just wanted to talk about the air plumbing that's going down here and just kind of give you all a quick go around in the garage. I'm going to try to just start posting more videos on here more frequently. Previously I was really trying to polish and edit and make a really nice little packaged thing every time I made a video. And it's just really tough to kind of get in that routine, especially when you're not a video editor. So I've got like just hours and hours of footage of things that I filmed around here over the last really 3 years, I guess, that are just sitting on SD cards, not being used. Quality of the phone's so good, it's like, don't overthink it. I just need to post some videos up here because I got some cool stuff, I'd love to share. And really just kind of let y'all see the progress and the process of everything that I work on. It's not TV show magic. There's not going to be a snap and a finished car here. I got a kid now. Look at this. This is what my garage is now. I got, battery-powered cars and, all kinds of other stuff mixed in here. I've got pressure washing related stuff in here, different buffer tanks and parts, pieces, cleaner, chemicals, window cleaning stuff all on the roof of the Rambler. This is the real version of my home shop. It's not, it is what it is. The next big project after getting some of these shelves out of here, before I do anything else, is going to be investing in a proper epoxy flooring in here. I think that would really make this place awesome. I've always wanted to have that. Doing that in a rental shop when we had our commercial buildings and stuff, it's really expensive to do, 6,000 plus square feet of that. This garage is 24 by 30. The block walls are in good shape, so it won't be hard to freshen these up and repaint them, even if it's just fresh white, just to re-brighten it, gel off all the mildew in a few places, and clean my windows in here, and kind of suck all the spider webs up out of the corners. Just a few little things to make it present well in here. It will be nice. As you can see, I've also put LED overhead lights in here. I still need to wire them in. I mean, I've just got little jumper adapters going to the light sockets that were existing already. And that made such a monster difference just by adding these lights. I got these at the Harbor Freight with a coupon. They're a couple years old now. I got these at the beginning of 2020, right when they first came out with these 4-foot fluorescent or LED light fixtures. And I want to say they were $20 a piece, so $80, including my little light socket adapters and everything. I got $100. Was able to put new lights in here. That was cheaper than I could have bought fluorescent bulbs for some free ballast or free fixtures that I got. So anyway, so I just kind of stuck these up here, made this place nice so you can actually see. It's awesome. I'm really ready to get this place in a workable zone so that my Chevelle here, which has been taken apart since February of 2011, in the very first building that we ever rented, so I can get back working on it. I work on it like pretty much one day a year is all I've got on it in the last few. My project for 2021, this sucks. I mean, I'm embarrassed to say this. Doing all the plug welds around the wheelhouse and getting my trunk and package tray stuff tightened up because it was just sheet metal screwed from the move and the kind of dry fit. So I've got it now where the trunk open and closes without any flex because the trunk spring stuff wasn't attached to the wheelhouse. Very, very, very small progress, but still some nonetheless. And the sooner I get this place back organized, then it won't be a day-long project just to get the car in working position to then hopefully be able to work on it for a few hours. The idea was to get everything freed and cleared and organized, get the tools out of here that don't need to be here, or build a new workbench or whatever I need to do so that when I do get a couple of hours, I can just pop out here, knock a few things out, and be done with it, and not have to, have an all-day event to weld for an hour. Same thing on the Rambler. I've pretty much decided what I'll be doing suspension-wise on it, which is going to be based off of S chassis, Nissan S chassis suspension. Going to use front and rear subframes. S13 or 14, haven't fully made up my mind on that, but I've got it narrowed down to at least use that. Maybe 350Z rear stuff, just because it's so much more abundant now than the 240 stuff. At any rate, the idea is to get stock independent front and rear suspension subframes out of a car that's got good aftermarket support, decent brakes, good bolt pattern, and easy to upgrade, maintain, replace, refine, adjust, tweak, tune, all that stuff. If I use that geometry off of something that's already proven, this car being a similar wheelbase to 350 or 240, it's fairly similar. I don't have it handy, but it's probably the same width. Honestly, as a 350Z, maybe a little narrower due to flange to flange. So by setting it up on something like that, I'll be able to buy aftermarket control arms if I want to have different adjustability. Of course, all the aftermarket brakes supports there. It'll just be really easy to upgrade and kind of tweak and have a really fun, solid driving car without having to completely reinvent the wheel of doing like a regular live axle 4-link setup, a Mustang 2 front end. Even though that stuff's abundant and everything, it's just kind of not really what I want to do. So I think it's going to be cooler that way. Basically, I'll just get some frame rails bent, 2x4, 120 wall stuff. There's a couple guys got mandrel CNC rectangle tube benders that I know. And so I'll just figure out the dimensions of the rise that I need, get those rails done up, buy the subframes and make pickup points for that. Then, once I've got basically that footprint blueprint mapped out, I can go back if I want to, which I probably will, and can make aftermarket cross members for those. But that way I've got, my starting point is just bone stock S chassis stuff, bolting in just like a factory cross member would. I mean, everything down to the stinking control arm, top hat mounts. I'll do all of that stuff exactly factory. That way, you know, like a strut tower bar would work, motor mounts. I mean, it's everything. So it's just very, very, very simple to use a proven platform like that to be able to set this car up on. And then, you know, the rest is just the cosmetic stuff. It's easy to build floors, trans tunnel, firewall, do everything I want to do to make it cool and functioning. But the hard part, suspension geometry, use something off the shelf. Yeah, there's some good options too, like a Roadster Shop spec chassis for a first gen Camaro is also would be a good candidate. But that puts it at a whole nother level budget wise. You know, I got to be 10, 11, 12,000 bucks just to get the roller under it. Whereas even though it'll be stock stuff and I'll need to swap all this out for aftermarket arms, coilovers, brakes, all that kind of stuff, and rebuild everything, you know, for a few $1,000s in the raw materials and the suspension components, I can get a rolling chassis built, get the floor cut out of this thing, the firewall hacked out of it, get it braced, and get it, you know, married to the new platform so that it's a good roller on the new suspension. And then I can be able to, like, little piece at a time, make sections of the floor, make the tunnels, all that kind of stuff, which would be pretty tight. Also, too, by using S chassis suspension, gosh, I know this video is getting really long. By using the S chassis setup, now that there's so much support for all the different motor swap options, if I build it with that in mind, in theory, I would be able to take something like a set of Siki motor mounts for an LS and an S13 and use that to put my motor and stuff in place so that basically whatever trans tunnel set up, it'll have the platform set so that even if down the road, you know, I mean, obviously a full built hot rod's going to be built around that drivetrain. But if for some crazy reason I keep it simple in the engine bay and don't overcomplicate it and just build it like it's a cool driver, say maybe I go junkyard 4.8 motor now and whatever manual transmission I can put behind it, whether it's T56, 6060, CD009 or whatever with an adapter plate. In theory, later on, I could be building like a dope forever JZ on a motor stand that when I get ready, since the mounts are the same and the mounts are available, I could simply swap that out on the cradle without having to reinvent the car and do any like super gnarly stuff to change it out, to go swap a different engine in there and go that route. But anyhow, thanks for watching, y'all. Be sure to like and subscribe. If you hadn't, drop a comment. It's good to post a video. Hopefully y'all stuck through to the end here. If you did, drop, you know, let me know in the comments that you stuck it out to the end. Got a lot of stuff going on here, of course, and hopefully I can keep getting a little time each week to work out here in the garage now that our baby's getting old enough to not be so hands-on, you know, 24 hours a day. So anyway, we'll see y'all next time. Thanks.